So this is my video about Peter. I don't want to say that he has ADHD because he wasn't actually diagnosed by any doctor, because I don't know, in China they don't do that. But he has a lot of characteristics that kind of show that he has some sort of difficulty for attention deficit. So Peter is Chinese. He is 6 years old, and he has some behavioral issues, as I said. I decided to make my presentation about him because he is my most challenging student. This is the second year that he is with us, because in China you move with your kids. So I know him quite well. So for what we know, or the school knows about him, is that he did K1 3 years old in a public school in China, and he had some behavioral problems at that time too. And the parents decided that a private school or international school was going to be a little bit less disciplined or rigid in terms of discipline for him. So they put him in our school. Our school is private, international, but when they go to elementary school, they have bilingual department, which is Chinese in the mornings and English in the afternoon. But so far in the kindergarten it's all English, so it's different from a public school. So last year, I was in this school for 3 years. Last year, when we had the first problem with him, there was no policy for kids with that need additional or different treatment in terms of disabilities. So at that time, we didn't have anything. But this year, because the school has added 13 more classes, and there's a lot of cases. Almost every class has some special need student. They started adding some policy. So what you are supposed to do is to first agree with your Chinese teacher that you both agree and that this kid presents some sort of issue. It happens many times because we come from different cultures and backgrounds, that maybe you think that this kid has some issues, and then Chinese people, they don't. So the first thing that the school wants is that we both have kind of the same opinion, or the same diagnosis for this child. Otherwise it's very confusing. So once we agree on some situation, we need to raise it to the head teacher. Then head teachers, which actually they have no special education about this, but whatever, they will observe this student for a couple of weeks, and then if it's required, they will talk to the principal, and the last step is to talk to parents. But in China, we are not supposed, teachers, to say anything to parents ourselves. Teachers, they have to be some sort of principal or head teacher, the one that says, or I don't know, has a meeting about this. But again, this is not my situation, because I got Eric last year, and last year already we got so many problems, and we already had meetings with the parents, but I will talk about this later. So last year in 2016, when I got this classroom, everybody told me, because he had done summer camp before the term started, everybody told me that he was impossible to control, that he was very naughty, and that he had a lot of behavior problems. Actually, when we started school, he got some sort of stitches in his head, because apparently he jumped from a window, I don't know. But it wasn't at school. But I remember that when he started school, the mother told me, you have to be careful, because he got 20 itches on his head, stitches. So it was already okay. We need to be careful. Yes, it was very difficult to control him, but actually after maybe, I don't know, 2 months of class, I was very strict to him because immediately I knew he needed limits. He was desperate for limits, especially because I am quite strict with them, like with everyone. I mean, I start very strict and then slowly I get to be more friendly and fun. But at the beginning, I think the only way to control, we have like large classes, 25, 27 kids, is to show some very, very strict classroom procedures. So I immediately saw that he would respect and respond to me, and he didn't to a Chinese teacher. She is way softer and she's quite weak, and at that time it was her first year teaching and she could not control him, and he was very disrespectful to her, where he was quite okay with me. So the first thing I knew is that he's a very manipulative child, that he acts according to who has in front. So this is like one very, very important aspect of him, like, because after when we got meetings with parents said no, he cannot control himself. The doctor said that he has some neurological problems and he cannot control himself, and I actually don't agree on this. I think he can. He's too smart and he knows exactly how to behave with whom. Because with me, after 2 months of class, and of course being super strict, and it was very tiring because, I don't know, maybe 50% of my energy, it was always for him. And at some point I knew this is not unfair for the other kids, because it was like a one-on-one teacher. I was giving him so much attention and taking him outside for walks or run, or printing him worksheets that he can complete when he would finish his activities before anyone else, that I actually don't have the time to do that for everybody else, and I was always doing it for him. So as a teacher, I never felt very comfortable about this, but it was the only way to control him. So being super strict to him, and on the other side being a little bit more flexible. Of course, I don't have the same rules for everyone. Everybody has to sit for, like, I don't know, for example, circle time for 10 minutes, and he is walking around or running around, but that's okay for me, because I cannot expect him to sit, because he doesn't enjoy it and he's not learning anything. So I am quite more flexible with him, but I'm also very strict. So the first 2-3 months they worked pretty well. Then we got a break, Chinese New Year. I'm talking about last year. And after the break, children have like the winter vacation is about 3 weeks. When he came back, he was awful again. Again, it was even worse than in September. It was like a setback. So I also realized that then home has some influence, because probably at school we are more strict with him and we have more procedures than he has at home. And so at that point, I decided to start ignoring him, because I really didn't want to give him so much attention and time, because of the other kids. It's always like, I'm always thinking that it's unfair, because he takes most of my time, he takes most of my energy. So I started ignoring him. And one day, he was worse and worse and worse. And one day he pulled my hair, like he almost hung from my hair for, I don't know, I think it was like 20 seconds or so, and he wouldn't let me. And then the teacher was like, Peter, you cannot do it. And he was so angry to me. It was with me. So after that, we had a meeting with the principal. I took him to the principal's office. He didn't want to talk. He refused to talk. He refused to say what happened. And he said he didn't care. He was never going to talk about what happened. Actually, it was very strange because even the principal, she said to me, Lina, he doesn't want to talk to me. I threatened him. I offered him whatever he wants. I said everything and he said he's never going to talk about what happened. So like a 6-year-old can be so manipulative. So in the end, she came to me and she said, you can try by yourself because he doesn't want to talk to me. And when I talked to him, he said, yes, I pulled your hair. Why? I don't know why. I don't know. He said to me, sometimes I hate you. And I knew this was because of this kind of like lack of attention he was getting from me. But maybe it was my mistake because at the beginning I gave him too much attention just to control him and to keep him, I don't know, controlled. But then this second part of the year I decided, no, it's unfair for the other ones, so I'll ignore him. And then this happened. So then at that time my principal met his parents. I didn't want to be in the meeting because I was very upset. I don't know, I never had like such a violent reaction from a kid before, especially from him, which he loves me and I know that, and I gave him so much attention that I took it a bit personal. Like I didn't even want to meet his parents. I was really sad, and maybe this is like my problem, that I take things personal, and of course they are 5 years old, they have no idea, but still. So she met them and then she told them what happened, and parents said that actually he loves his teacher so much. He comes home and he only talks about her, and we all know what she likes, what she doesn't like. So there is some emotional thing there. Okay, whatever. After that, right after that, his mom was in hospital for some, I don't know why, what happened to her. She had some operation and she stayed in hospital for 2 months. So Peter was without his mom for 2 months. They're quite wealthy, so he had like 2 nannies taking care of him. And at this point, he was really good at school. Like, unbelievable. It seemed as if this situation at home, which was pretty serious because he had no mom. And also in China, they have this theory that because he was being very good at home, in school, his father said, I don't want him to see his mom because I think this kind of situation is making him grow. So he could only talk to her for 2 months on the phone. Even he would come to school and I would ask him, did you WeChat is like a social media with her last night? And he said, yeah, but only on the phone. They don't let me see her. Pretty weird, but this is how they do it here. And he was amazing at school, like never before. Well, the school finished, and now in September we started a new year. And again, Teachers' Day, September 10th, he ate all the Chinese teachers' chocolates she got for her Teachers' Day. There were like 3 boxes. We are 3 teachers. We got a lot of stuff, a lot of chocolates, and he chose hers. Took all the chocolate to the bathroom during lunchtime and ate them all. And he knew that my set was next to hers, but he decided to eat hers. So this was kind of like an episode after 2 weeks, but of course it was many other things. He wrote on the walls, he stole stuff from other kids, and then so we had this problem. It was like 1 week ago. Of course, again, I took him to the principal's office, and then I explained her before what happened, and then she said, bring him, I'll talk to him. And he refused to talk. They had him for 2 hours, and he said, I'm not going to talk about this. Same as last time. So in the end, she brought him back, and I talked to him, and he said, yes, I ate her chocolates. Why? Because I love chocolate and I want to eat her chocolates. So it was a thing again, but like 2 days later, he was scheduled for an operation because apparently he's having some medical issues. I don't understand very well because I speak Chinese, but what I could understand is that they have to like unblock something in his nose that is not letting the oxygen go well to the brain, something like that. So apparently this lack of oxygen in his brain is causing him this behavior. I don't know. It's very weird to me, but that's what the mother told me. So he's going to stay in hospital for at least 3 or 4 weeks until he can come back to school. But it was a pretty serious operation, like physical operation, but that apparently has some neurological consequences. So he's not at school. After this happened on Teacher's Day, like the next Monday he was operated, and that is what happened, and he's not back still. So how is he? He's super smart, probably the smartest kid I've seen in my life. And not only in his classroom, but with kids, older kids, and I don't know, I think he has some sort of like very gifted kid in some aspects. He's very good with numbers, math. He's always asking me to give him very, very difficult calculations like multiplications or divisions, or like 4, 5, 6 numbers multiplied by other 6 numbers, 1 million times 7, how many millions? And he's always trying to talk about numbers and math and stuff. He doesn't have very good social skills, of course, like he gets bored with most of the kids. And also other kids find him too naughty, and in China to be naughty and to be funny is not okay. It's kind of like the society is more like, oh, they like good kids. Maybe in the West he would be okay, but in Italy he would be funny, but here it's more like, oh, he's the bad boy because he's messy, he's very sloppy, and he never wears shoes, for example. He hates shoes. So even in winter, he doesn't like to wear. I only force him to wear them outside, but inside I already gave up because he hates to wear shoes. So yeah, he has some social issues. Even though I worked a lot to integrate him with the classroom, like to make him look like a, I don't know, kind of like a funny and not a weird guy. So some kids, they got used to him and they kind of like him. So he's crazy with time. Like that's another thing that I found a very good strategy. It's like I time everything for him. I say, okay, Peter, we're gonna change our shoes and go to a swimming pool. I've gotta give you the timer, and you let me know how long does it take. And he's obsessed with timers and timing everything and looking at the clock and watching the time. And he has the thing that when he does something wrong, he doesn't want to talk. Only maybe with his mother or sometimes with me, but he doesn't talk and he refuses to talk, and there's no way anyone would convince him. Well, he's super smart, and I found him a little bit controlling. I would say manipulative, but I think it's too harsh on a kid, but he is manipulative. He knows exactly what he's doing. He knows exactly. That's why I got so upset, or the Chinese teacher, she got so upset because she told me, Lina, I think he knew these were my chocolates. He would never eat yours because he knows that you would be so mad at him. But he knows exactly what he's doing. And sometimes, you know, my principal, she said, Lina, but it's only 6 years old. No, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it's a 6-year-old body, but he knows what he's doing. Then let me see. So this is the relationship with others. He's very disrespectful to people in general. Like when he goes to a swimming class that I'm not there, he spits on the swimming coaches, and I don't know. Then there's an afternoon club that I don't go there, and the music teacher kicked him out from the class, and she said, I'm gonna quit if I don't have him, if if this kid's still in my class, because he is very disrespectful to her. He's even disrespectful to the Chinese teacher, which I work so hard on him for him to respect her. But to me, I have to say that he is not like that. Just because I'm so strict with him. It's not because he loves me, it's because I'm strict. So he knows what's his limitations. And I think at home is the same. His mother is very strict and his father is very soft. So he respects mom and not dad. So this is about 2 pieces of artwork. I don't know if you can see. So on the left, there's a normal boy. He likes to play soccer. He likes to be outside. He's not very good painting, but I just want to show you the difference, because this was like the our folder. So I asked them to write their names and to draw 2 or 3 different things that are from this year. So there's a flamingo on the left and a tree, and this kid, he drew himself. And then Peter Peter just, he hates to draw, but even if I gave him the timer and stuff, he cannot draw. He cannot even draw like a person. Or I told him, even if you want to see a picture of a flamingo, or you can try to copy, doesn't matter. No. So this is kind of like the result. Like this was done 2 weeks ago, something like that. So yes, this is my situation. I think he needs a smaller school. We are 27 people in our class, and I don't think this works for him. He needs more special education. I wouldn't say special education. He can be put in a normal class, but I like a smaller class, and also not as strict. Like my principal told me that my style is quite free. I'm very like, I don't know, kind of freestyle teacher, so I'm not very strict in terms of sit properly, line up, make a straight line. I mean, so I let him run, I let him jump, I let him do stuff, but this school is very strict. Actually, the strategies that I got with him was like, give him a timer to time everything, keep him busy doing stuff, like for example, helping me do stuff, I don't know, go clean up, bring me the markers, put the communication books over there, keep him busy all the time. And at some point, I let him walk backwards, because in China they have this idea that if children need to learn to walk and run backwards. So if he was too crazy in the class, I would say, Peter, go outside and run backwards for like, I don't know, 2 minutes. I give him the timer, and then you can come back. And this was a very effective. But of course I need to be careful and keep an eye on him, because he's messy, so he can hurt himself. Also, he's very sloppy and he's very not careful. He got like 3 or 4 injuries in his head, 2 broken bones. I mean, of course, because he's not afraid, he wants to do everything, he tends to be hurt more often. So this is my case, my Peter.